that Imam said, إِذَا صَحَّ الْحَدِيث فَهُوَ مَذْهَبِي. Okay, when will it be their madhab? When you find a Sahih Hadith, it's my madhab, when will it be their madhab? When they did not know that Hadith. If they knew that Hadith, but still they did not use it, then there is some reason behind it. And Imam Abu Hanifa knew this Hadith of Jahara biha sawtahu, and still he preferred the other Hadith of Akhfa biha sawtahu, that he said it silently. Imam Abu Hanifa looked at the practice of the Sahaba Rizwanullahi Majma'i. Similarly, Imam Malik as well, in this masla. Now over here we have to understand another thing as well. People think that because there are 4 mazahib, then in every masla there will be 4 different opinions. That's not the case. In many masail, all 4 imams' verdict is same. In some masail, 3 imams on one side and 1 imam on the other side. In some masail, 2 on one side, the other 2 on one side. In this masla, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, they both say you have to say Ameen silently. And Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad, they say you say Ameen loudly. Now this is masla, ikhtilaf, difference of afzal and ghair afzal. More virtuous, less virtuous. Imam Abu Hanifa says it's more virtuous to say it silently, and it is allowed to say loudly. Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad say more virtuous to say loudly, but they are allowed to say silently. So the difference of opinion among the ulama, because they had another hadith before them, that is why they gave the verdict that this is the hadith as well, follow this hadith. So you can't use this argument of إِذَا صَحَّ الْحَدِيث فَهُوَ مَذْهَبِي everywhere and say this is the Imam's madhab. Who can tell you that whether Imam Sahib knew this hadith or not? Those who were immediately around Imam Sahib. Qazi Abu Yusuf, he will say that this hadith did not reach Imam Sahib. If we have received this hadith, we will give a verdict according to that hadith. So, this is where people can go wrong. Dr. Zakir Naik, he's a very knowledgeable person, and he gives some, very good answers, very good speeches, very logical answers to many of the critical questions. And, I also listen to him. I like him. Sometimes, he gives really nice answers. Like, for example, he was once asked that, why can people not go into Haramain Sharifain? We allowed you everywhere, so why don't you allow us in Haramain Sharifain? So he gave the reply on the spot. He said that, well, you see, I am an Indian citizen, but I am not allowed everywhere. There are places in India where I can't go, like the army camp. If I want to go there, I need a pass. Many offices, many buildings, governmental buildings, presidential palaces, you need a pass to go there, otherwise you can't go there, even though I'm an Indian citizen. So he says, over here as well, you need a pass. And that pass is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. You bring that pass and we will allow you inside. So this is a very good logical answer. So in this way he gives some real nice answers. But when he stays inside his field, he's a very nice person. Comparative studies of religion, he is a master in his field. But when he goes out of that field and goes into hadith, into tafsir, into fiqh, into tarikh, then that's where he makes masail. A person can't have full knowledge of everything. If you go everywhere, you will make mistakes. So this is where I'm just trying to highlight his mistake so that you can be careful, and when you listen to him, when you feel something is dodgy, don't follow him with regards to mazahib. For example, he is not a Hanafi, he is a ghair muqallid, he is a Salafi, himself declares. So he says that there is no difference between the salah of a man and woman. A woman should pray salah exactly in the same way as a man prays. She should raise her hands to the ears, she should tie them where the man ties, and she should perform ruku, sajda, and sit exactly like man. Whereas their fuqaha have mentioned there are 12 differences between the salah of a man and a woman. And the reason for that is the hadith narrated by many, Zamakhshari and others, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِذَا صَلَّتِ الْمَرْأَةُ فَلْتَحْتَفِزْ. Bayhaqi has also narrated this hadith. When a woman prays namaz, she should shrink her body and contract herself, because that is more لأنه أستر more concealing for her. There was one woman praying namaz, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed by, he directed, gave her some instructions, instructed her, and he said, إِنَّ الْمَرْأَةَ لَيْسَتْ فِي ذَلِكَ كَالرَّجُلِ. In this matter, a lady is not like a man. There is difference between them. So from there, the fuqaha derive that she should not lower herself completely in ruku, she should not grab hold of the knees, rather she should place her hands on the thighs, and her fingers should be joined with one another throughout the salah. In sajda, she should join her body and her arms to her body, and also to her knees as well. She should sit with tawarruk, unlike man. So these are some masail. In the hadith it says that if the imam makes mistakes and behind him is a lady, she should not say subhanallah. The men should say subhanallah, but the women, they should clap on their hands in this manner, so that in order to direct him towards the mistake. So there are differences between the salah of man and woman. But Dr. Zakir Naik is saying there is no difference between salah of man and woman. He says in one place that 3 talaqs are not 3, only 1. If you give 3 divorce, it will be only counted as 1. This is the view of the non-muqallideen and the Salafis of this time. Aimmi arba'as, ijma' is that 3 are 3, not 1. So this is how he makes mistake. In one, I was reading this book called Dr. Zakir Naik Mutala. There are some of his mistakes mentioned in there. He was once asked a question that hurum maqsuratun fil khiyam, that in the Quran it says that man will get hurs in Jannah. So what will a woman get in Jannah? So he says, well, you know, Professor Asad so and so has said that hur is an Arabic word which means white in complex. So men will get white complex ladies and women will get men of white complex and white color. So this is how he gave the reply answer in order to convince the ladies in the congregation. Now he is making a mistake over here. First of all, who is Professor Asaduddin? Nobody knows who is Professor Asaduddin. If you want to quote, you quote from the Sahaba, Tabi'een, Tabi Tabi'een. Dr. Zakir Naik rarely mentions the name of any Sahaba or Tabi'een, Tabi Tabi'een or Imma or Fuqaha or any one of them. He will mention some professor or here or there, but not of Ibn Abbas, Ibn Mas'ud, Umar ibn Khattab, Usman, Abu Bakr Siddiq, or not of the Tabi'een like Sa'id ibn Musayyib, Mujahid ibn Jabr Ikrimah, or Sa'id ibn Jubair, the great Mufassireens, not of the 4 Imams, not of the Muhaddiseens, and not of the Ulamas who came after. So he doesn't quote ever anything from any of the tafasir of Ibn Kasir or Qurtubi or Khazin or Mazhari or any other tafasir, Ruhul Ma'ani or any other tafasir. He mentions some quote from some Professor Asaduddin who said this, and that quote is also wrong. Because hur is an Arabic word which is plural of hawra. If you go into the Arabic language, you will realize that hawra is a sigha of mu'annath, or wazn of fa'la. And jama is fu'lun, hurun. So hawra in itself, hur is muannas sigha. And in Quran where hur is mentioned, Allah brings the attribute of feminine as well. Allah says hurum maqsuratun. Maqsurat is feminine. وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا أَزْوَاجٌ مُطَهَّرَةٌ. So mutahharatun is feminine. So Allah is mentioning that men will get beautiful, nice women in Jannah. This is what Allah is mentioning. Now you can't distort the meaning and do tahrif of the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to just convince the ladies in the congregation. That is wrong. You are messing around with the Quran. This is how the Jews and Christians tampered with their books and distorted the books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what Allah said is correct. Now the answer to the original question will be that if you look at the nature of man and woman, you will realize that man is polygamous. He likes many women. But women are naturally not polygamous. They like only one single man. They won't like 10, 15 men to jump over them and sleep with them. No, they normally like one person. They were extremely jealous. They don't like many men. But men like many women. Allah has programmed man and woman in such a manner. So if a lady was told that in Jannah you will get 72 men, a lady, she will feel ashamed. No, I don't want 72 men. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the nature of women and He knows the nature of man. That is why Allah said, first of all in the Quran doesn't say 72. Quran just mentions hurun, maqsuratun, azwajun, mutahharatun. It's in the ahadith where it comes that men will get multiple women and ladies inside Jannah. So Allah's mentioning that this is what hurun maqsuratun means. But Dr. Zakir Naik there is making the mistake. So you have to be very careful with regards to masail, with regards to tafsir of Quran when he gives any of that. Otherwise, he has done some good works and may Allah accept his good work. And many people have embraced Islam on his channel, Peace TV. And mashallah, you know, he is a nice person, very knowledgeable person in his field. But he does tend to make these mistakes. And we have to be very careful. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, the most thing I fear over my ummah is zallatul alim, the slipping of an alim. When an alim slips, then many people slip with him. Imam Abu Hanifa was once going and he saw a young boy walking and he said, "Oh young man, walk carefully, you might slip and it will dirty your clothes." And the young boy looked at him and said, "Imam Sahib, if I slip, only I will sleep, but if you sleep, the whole ummah will sleep. So you better be more careful. So the boy was much wiser, and Imam Sahib said this is a very hakimana and wise word from that young boy. So the zallatul alim, the slipping of an alim is very dangerous. So this is where sometimes Dr. Zakir Naik slips and he makes mistakes. So you have to be very careful with regards to that. Understand very carefully. Don't take his view with regards to masail. Take the views of the ulama, follow the ulama and listen to them. This is what we need to say. Moving on, there are plenty of things we need to cover over here. Some people say Quran is one, Rasul is one. Then why different maslas? Where do these different maslas come from? We say that Beshak Quran is one. A hadith is of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But are there no, leave the Quran aside, are there no differences in the hadith? Many hadiths different, and in one hadith something, another hadith something we mentioned earlier. So over a 23-year period, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sometimes gave different instructions. So you can't say that there is only one instruction. That first of all, that is wrong. Moving on the Sahabas, there was no differences among the Sahaba. Plenty of differences among Sahaba. They used to have different opinion because understanding the deen is something which every person understands and takes masail from there. Let me give you some examples. Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu anhu, he was of the view that if a person touches his private part, his wudu breaks. But other ulama like Ali, Hazrat Abbas, Abdullah ibn Abbas and others, Hazrat Ali, Abdullah ibn Abbas and others, they said no, Sa'd ibn Waqqas, that if you touch your penis, your wudu will not break. So there is that difference of opinion among them. And the majority of the ulama and the Sahaba are of the second view that your wuzu does not break. Because there is ijtihad. Some people say you can't leave Sahih Hadith. You have to follow Sahih Hadith. We say that no, sometimes you have to leave Sahih Hadith. Sahaba used to leave Sahih Hadith. Over here in this masla, Mastud Dhakar, Sahaba were told by Busra bint Abi Safwan. She narrated from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he said, "Man massa dhakarahu falyatawadda." Who touches his private part, then he should perform wudu. So a Sahaba said no. We have other hadith from Talq ibn Ali radiyallahu anhu. He said that your wuzu does not break. Hal huwa illa bad'atun minka. It is only a part of your body, like your finger, like your nose. If you touch your nose, your wuzu doesn't break. So if you touch your private part, your wuzu doesn't break. So he said that we heard this. We it was a common masla. So we do not take your hadith. We take this other hadith. So Sahaba sometimes they knew which hadith to take. They knew the halal. So that is why they had the difference of opinion. Many masail. Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu said, performing wudu with sea water is makruh. But the other Sahaba said, no, if you are in the sea, you need to perform wudu with the sea water, the salty water. It's allowed. If you are on a beach, you want to do wudu with that and pray your namaz on the beach. There is no harm in there. But Abdullah ibn Umar used to say it's makruh to do wudu with the sea water. Similarly, using perfume, itr, on the day of Friday. Abu Huraira said it's wajib. But Abdullah ibn Abbas and most of the Sahaba said it's sunnah. Similarly, if something has been cooked on fire and you eat that, then some Sahabas were of the opinion that your wuzu breaks and you have to do your wuzu again, like Abu Huraira, Anas, Abdullah ibn Umar, Aisha. But other Sahabas, most of them, they said no, your wuzu doesn't break by eating something. Jabir ibn Abdullah narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ate some cooked food and then it was time for salat, he got up and he led the salat without doing wuzu. So your wuzu doesn't break because of that hadith. So Sahabas have the differences of opinion. This is research. Difference of opinion is in all fields. So you can't take the argument and say that Quran is one, Rasul is one. So why different masail? No. So there is difference of research, opinion. So there is no harm in there. We say that what is your mazhab? You are non-muqallid. Tell me, is there any ikhtilaf in your non-muqallid imams or not? Plenty of ikhtilaf. Plenty of ikhtilaf, more than the muqallidins. You go, Nawab Siddiq Hasan will say something else, Wahidur Zaman will say something else. Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Baz will say something else, Nasiruddin Albani will say something else. There is plenty of ikhtilaf of opinion among them as well. They are not muttafiq on one masla all the time. Allama Shawkani will say something else, others will say. I don't want to go into detail on that. So you can't put this argument and say that madhab should be one, just one Quran, one hadith and one opinion. You can't have differences of opinion. Another objection. Why should we follow one imam only? Why can't we take something from here and take something from there? Now over here, if we give the green light to people to pick and choose from mazahib, the same thing will happen which we mentioned earlier of picking, choosing from ahadith. Even, in fact, this will be more dangerous. Because you will take one masla from Shafi mazhab, another masla from Hanafi mazhab. And you will say, today I am doing this, tomorrow I will do that.